everyone, and welcome to the second Wheel of Destiny Twitter edition. And as you see, the winner is Phil from The Promised Neverland. As you have probably noticed, this video is late, to say the very least. I am very sorry. I had some trouble getting suggestions on Twitter, or at least enough that I could make a spinning wheel out of it, and after I got free and the week was already almost approaching, I started to realize, okay, I'm not gonna get any more suggestions, so we're just gonna stick with the free I had. Also, I happened to watch Neon Genesis Evangelion for the first time in that period as I was working for this video, and to say the very least, I got a little bit depressed. So I got a little bit demotivated throughout the entire week, but as you can see, it's finally out. So, what are we talking about this time? Well, this time, as you see, we're gonna talk about The Promised Neverland. As always, I'm gonna talk about the show a little bit, about the premise, I'm gonna talk about my opinions on it, and ultimately I'm gonna talk about Phil as a character. Anyway, so, what is The Promised Neverland? Okay, without spoiling anything, if you have not watched even the first episode of The Promised Neverland, let's just summarize it as this. It is about an orphanage with lots of orphans who have the time of their lives and go through intelligent tests, which already gives this feeling that something is a bit off. And they're also taking care of the lovable mother, also known as Isabella. The show has a very interesting art style, it's very pretty, and if you're someone who likes mystery and such, you're probably going to like the show. Now, to talk about the series by itself, I'm going to tell you that the first episode is kind of an experience you have to have without knowing anything about it. So if you have not watched The Promised Neverland, you might not want to watch this video, so please watch it and then come back to this video to have a nice discussion about it in the comment section below. This is your last warning, this is where the spoilers come in. Are the kiddos away? Okay, so you all know what Wagyu is, right? It's interesting because I've never heard of Wagyu before until Domix made a video about it. Domix is an animation channel where he made a hypothetical about if humans had the Wagyu lifestyle. Wagyu is basically a, as far as I understood, it's the kind of meat that is produced, and the very special thing about Wagyu is that the cow, I think, that they use for the production of this kind of meat are treated very well, are having luxurious lifestyles, well, as much as you can do with a cow, but for that they have a shorter lifespan. And I remember when I first watched The Promised Neverland, I thought of that Domix video and I just thought, that's kind of what Wagyu is, isn't it? If you've only watched the first episode, then you probably already know what it is about. The orphanage, in fact, is a farm for all the children to be devoured by the demons. Some of them become mothers like Isabella to take care of them and then ultimately bring them to the plate of the demons, and others are just being straight up devoured. It's actually interesting because it's not exactly stated what happens to the males of the farm, because so far we have only seen what Isabella went through as basically a survivor, what Krone, I hope I pronounce it right, went through when she became a mother or sister, whatever it's called. And Norman, in the end of the, which episode was it? The 8th episode, I think? He was kind of put in a separate part. And it's interesting to think about because there is a good possibility that the males actually are not devoured. I don't know what the manga says. I have not read the manga, but you kind of have to make children, you know? You gotta have both parts, and well, some of the males have to survive in some way as well. So, how's that decided? I honestly don't know what else to talk about because it's been a little bit of a while now that I've finished the anime. I have not read the manga, so I was very confused when someone gave me the suggestion for the Wheel of Destiny. This 6-year-old, I think he was 6, Maybe he was 4. I don't remember. Phil is a supporting character in the show, which means that he doesn't actually do that much. Don't get me wrong, he does serve a purpose at the end of the series, and he definitely seems to slowly become a more important character, but he's still this kind of character that doesn't really stand out all that much. So I was very confused when this character was suggested. Like, don't get me wrong, Phil is absolutely adorable. Not gonna say anything against that. But I don't know, I just didn't expect a supporting character like that to be suggested, especially not Phil. So when I was going through like the reference images, I saw like a video where there's like a theory video going on, and apparently what I've understood what happened in the manga, I haven't read the manga, I just saw some information from, I think, some fandom wiki. Apparently he talked to a male adult, which is interesting. A male adult is seen for the first time. Andrew, I think, was his name. And ever since that, you don't actually see anything from Phil anymore, apparently. So from that theory video I've seen, there's a good chance that Phil becomes a villain? I don't know. There was just some random videos, so it might have been just some person who wanted to gain attention, and I don't know how reliable that theory is, but it's kind of interesting to think about how Phil, as a 6-year-old, could really be an important character later on, and even an antagonist. That actually sounds like an interesting thing. But as it stands, I am still kind of confused if this character really matters all that much. So, I don't know. What do you think who Phil is? Is he going to be very important? Is he gonna stay just a supporting character? Is he gonna die? Is he gonna live? I don't know. And if you are manga readers, please don't spoil anything in the description below, but maybe some information about Phil would be kind of nice. Maybe I'll look into the manga after this video is done, who knows. Now, what is my opinion on the show? Well, it's actually kind of interesting because a lot of people I've heard really don't like this first episode plot twist, and I understand why they don't like that. I mean, it's interesting when a show wants to subvert expectations, but it kind of gets difficult to promote something if you can't explain what the entire series is about. And if you read the synopsis of the series, it's kind of already a spoiler. So the first episode twist is a little bit weak in that sense. It doesn't really make that much sense. It's kind of like in Kimetsu no Yaiba, Demon Slayer, where the parents die and it's just a really shocking scene where they're dead after all the happiness is. But when you look at the synopsis, that's literally what the story is about. So could you all please stop with the first episode twist? It was an interesting episode, of course. I'm not gonna say anything against that. It's a good show in my opinion. I really love the thriller aspect of it, and it's really pretty as a show, and especially the opening. The only thing that kind of bothers me about the show most likely is the art style. I mean, it's probably done intentionally to give this kind of uncanny valley kind of look of it, that it kind of seems like a conventional style of anime, but there's something weird with the faces that makes their foreheads look massive. I don't know, it's probably done on purpose, but it's kind of disturbing me whenever I notice it again. Like, when you watch the series, it's like, oh, okay, this is how they look like, but when you, don't look at it for a long time and then go back to it, it's like, what the hell is this? At least this is the kind of reaction I had when I first saw these screen captures on Twitter, and there was this one girl, Connie, I think was her name, where there was always a picture of her and some food, and I was so confused what that meant, what kind of meme that was, what was I missing? And I remember looking at Connie, it was just the weirdest face I've ever seen, but it was also really interesting, and I was just completely confused about the food comparison. And I mean, after watching the first episode, oh god, Twitter, why? I really don't know what else to talk about here, because if it were another character I had to draw, maybe I would talk a little bit more about it, but who knows if another character from that series is being picked again. So I don't know what else to talk about other than, well, Phil is adorable, okay? That's all you can really say. So, let's talk about the art piece now. I had immense trouble with the background. I had absolutely no idea what to do. I thought of doing like, making it look like there is a flower field of the, I think they're called Vita flowers, when they're blossom with red petals in the background. It's kind of what I tried to do, but it doesn't really look like a flower field, so it kind of looks like as if there was just some red mountains in the background. I don't know. In general, the flowers just look kind of stupid in this one, so I tried to make it as intelligible as possible so you can't really see what it is. I did try to use a method that I've seen artists use for backgrounds that apparently for something that is further away, it blends in more with the background. So I try to lower the opacity of the background or just erase slightly with a soft brush so it blends in a little bit to the background. And I think it's kind of nice. The clouds are, well, they're clouds. I don't know what else to say here. And I always try to like lower the opacity of the flowers the further away they are from the front. And, well, I mean, it's okay, I guess. When it comes to composition, I did think about using that, what is it called? The free line grid. Like, it's divided in 3 parts from up to bottom and left to right. But I forgot. There's absolutely nothing else to say about it. I just simply forgot to do that. So it's not really organized in that way. But, you know, it kind of fits. Somehow. Okay, it doesn't, but I still kind of like it, okay? I had some trouble with the hand there. Like, obviously it's a hand, you always have some trouble with the hand, but I think I'm slowly understanding the kind of style that I'm going with that makes drawing hands a little easier. So it doesn't look as bad as it could. And one thing I'm really happy about is the butterfly in this image. I don't really draw insects all that often, and it's probably still not exactly the best butterfly you've ever seen. But I still kind of like the look of it. At least it looks like a butterfly. Well, actually it was kind of funny because my brother came in at some point and he accidentally called it a bat. And I felt so heartbroken. Thinking, I don't really a bat? I mean, I know I'm not very good at drawing insects, but a bat? Seriously? There are a few details I missed in the butterfly, but it's okay. And I mean, I just realized that the butterfly isn't glowing like in the anime. When it comes to depth, I don't think I succeeded all that much, but I still kind of like how it turned out. The legs on Phil is not necessarily the best, and the position of running with Phil it's something. And Phil's face, okay, Phil's face was difficult to do just because of that same dilemma I had last time. Like, do people want me to draw Phil in my style or in the anime style? And it's even worse in this scenario because in the anime style the face is like squished in or something, so just looking at this, it doesn't look like Phil. It just doesn't look like him because of my style, so I'm sorry if you wanted to have the very cute, squished in face of Phil, but no, I couldn't do that. I tried to give him this kind of, like in the reference picture I had, his smile looked like of a cat, if you get what I mean, like it swirls a little bit in the end. And I tried to do that and it looks so awkward, but I tried. It's there. I also just realized I forgot to put the numbers on his neck, but technically seen, I put a black shadow on his neck, so you probably wouldn't even be able to see it with my style. So, you gotta tell me when you want characters to look like in the anime and not in my style, because I'm still confused if this is the right way to do it. Just missing details all over the place. It's stupid. Another thing I want to talk about a little bit is the symbolism I tried to put in the piece. Like, I think it is very obvious that the butterfly in the opening of the series is supposed to represent the children, and that the flowers are basically the symbolism of death. However, whenever I look at the butterfly, it feels more like a metaphor for adulthood. Like, when Isabella closes her clock thing or GPS device, whatever it is, the butterfly like goes into pieces, and to me it's more like the metaphor of adulthood basically being vanished from the kids' futures, that they're not able to get to adulthood, and that the flowers themselves could be represented as the children. So you see Phil running after the butterfly, basically running after the dream to grow up, and he carries like a few of the flowers with him as the metaphor for the children, like he's bringing some of the children with him. I don't know if this is what's going to happen in the anime. This would probably make more sense if Emma was in that picture, but I felt like this was such a good opportunity to put some symbolism in there. So to me, the flowers are the children, and the moment they're red, that's when they are food. So red is food. And so he's like running away from the distance in the back where the flowers are like slowly coming towards the camera from the background, but you still see like the few white flowers that are still on the ground, and Phil like picked up some of them to save them from the like the wave of the flowers blooming. If I succeeded in putting some symbolism in that piece, that's something I can't really answer. I want to say it's done well, but that's for you to decide. Now, please, down the comment section below, suggest as many fictional characters as you want. I will try to find a way to link in the description the list of shows I know. Anyway, so this is finally the end of the video. Tell me if you like the piece. Should I shrink down the face of Phil when I have the opportunity? I hope you're having a good day, and well, see you next time.